ಸುರಗಣಾರ್ಚಿತ ಸನಾತನ ಸದಾಗತಿ ಹಂಸ ಗಿರೀಶ ಗಾಂಗೇಯ ಪಿತ ಗಣನಾಥ ಜಗದೀಶ ವಿಷಧರ ಪಿನಾಕಿಯೆಂದು ಉದಯಾಸ್ತಮಾನದೊಳು 108 ನಾಮವನು ಪದುಳದಿಂದೋದಿ ಕೇಳಿದವರೆಗೆ ಶಂಭುಲಿಂಗದ ಕರುಣದಿಂದಿನಿತು ಕೊರತೆಯಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಕಲ ಸಂಪದದೊಳೊಂದುಗೂಡಿ ಸದಮಳ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸದ್ಭಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲೊದಗಿ ಕೈ ಸಾರುತ್ತಿಹ ವಿಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರದಲೊಂದಿದ ಗಣಪದವನೈದಿ ನಿಜ ಸುಖದೊಳಿಹ ಮುಕುತಿ ದೊರೆಯುವುದಿದು ಸತ್ಯವೆಂದು ಆದೋ ಕರ್ಮ ಪ್ರಸಂಗಾತ್ ಕಲಯತಿ ಕಲುಷಾಂ ಮಾತೃಕುಕ್ಷೋ ಸ್ಥಿತಂ ಮಾಂ ವಿಣುಮೂತ್ರಾ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಮೇದ್ಯ ಕ್ವತಯತಿ ನಿತರಾ ಜಾಠರೋ ಜಾತವೇದಾಃ ಯದ್ಯದ್ವೈ ತತ್ರ ದುಃಖಂ ಶಕ್ಯತೆ ಕೇನ ವಕ್ತುಂ ಶಂತೋ ಮೇ ಪರಾಧ ಶಿವ ಶಿವ ಶಿವಭೋ ಶ್ರೀ ಮಹಾದೇವ ಶಂಭೋ. ಬಾಲ್ಯೇ ದುಃಖಾತಿರೇಕಾನುಮಲಲುಲಿತವಪೋ ಸ್ತನ್ಯಪಾನೇ ಪಿಪಾಸಾ ನೋ ಶಕ್ಯಶ್ಚೇಂದ್ರಿಯೇಭ್ಯೋ ಭವಗುಣಜನಿತಾ ಜಂತವೋ ಮಾಂ ತುದಂತಿ ನಾನಾರೋಗಾದಿದುಃಖಾದೃತನ ಪರವಶಃ ಶಂಕರಂ ನ ಸ್ಮರಾಮಿ क्षन्तव्यो मे पराध शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शंभो.
The great teachers,
प्रभोहं यौवनस्तो विषय विषदरै पंचभिर्मर्म संदो दष्टो नष्टो विवेक सुतदन युवती
participated in.
शैवी चिंता विहीनां मम हृदयमहो मान गर्वादिरूढं क्षन्तव्यो मे पराध शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शंभो. वार्धक्ये चेन्द्रियाणां विगतगतिमतिश्चादिदैवादितापै पापैर्रोगैर्वियोगैर्स्तवनवसितवपो प्रौढैनञ्च दीनं मिथ्या मोहाभिलाषैर्भ्रमति मम मनो दूर्जटे ध्यानशून्यं क्षन्तव्यो मे पराध शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शंभो. नो शक्यं स्मार्तकर्मा प्रतिपदगहना प्रत्यवायाकुलाख्यां श्रोते वार्तकथं मे निजकुलवीते ब्रह्ममार्गे सुसारे ज्ञातो धर्मो विचारे श्रवणमनन.
So we'll just stay focused in awareness itself. I'm very glad everybody's here. So it was really quite a great weekend with Lama Garchen. And he actually taught some of the Anuttara Tantras. Huh? It was really great embodiment. So we'll stay focused right now. Let's extend again to each other. So as you guys know, your experience, as my experience, and everyone's experience is the manifestation of awareness. It's quite amazing that your very experience, every experience, is actually the manifestation of awareness. But as you and I also know, you have to be in awareness You have to be in the field, you have to be in gnosis, really. You have to have some sense of that direct perception in order to know this. It's kind of, awareness, consciousness is always concealing and revealing. It's like aletheia, the same thing. Or as that song of Samantabhadra starts off, it rises out of one ground, and one part is Rigpa, and the other part is Ma-Rigpa. One part is knowing, and one part's not knowing, out of very nature. So it looks like going back to our little discussion, which we'll do again on aletheia, the revealing and the concealing and unconcealing of the truth of the beingness of being in all the beings. So there's something, it's not bad will, the concealing or unconcealing. But you have to be in awareness of awareness to really experience, through our very experience, the actual truth of experience. One of the things about the Anatara Tantras, they were primarily, the emphasis is on experience. So your experience is the manifestation of luminosity. There would be no experience without light, without the clear light, without knowingness. None whatsoever. So all the sentient beings, all the beings really, there's knowingness there, the clear light. Without radiance, without the clear light of knowingness, without this knowing spaciousness, there would be abyss. Your experience, my experience, is the beingness of being. The beingness of being becoming present as experience. So the beingness of your being and the beingness of being itself in your being and in my being comes forth as presence. The presence of what? The presence of experience. Within your experience is luminosity manifesting, whatever the range of that experience is. So manifesting as your experience. So actually experience does count. All experience, every experience, is the experience of the appearance of the Nirmanakaya dimension of awareness. And within that appearance is the apparitionalness of the Sambhogakaya. And both are within the source, as the Dharmakaya, to use that sort of language. Within Dharmakaya, all this is manifesting. It's not really topological, thinking of topologies. Because the topology is not only up, down, it's horizontal, it's all the different ways. The very languaging, also, we would explain how the very language of our experience is the logos. When you and I can articulate experience from within the field, within awareness itself, it does have that power of logos. It does have the power of bringing forth that experience in ourselves and others. We've all been with great yogis who have this capacity, like Yen Chin and Lama Garchen and all the great lamas that we've visited, and Amachi, The light of expression of what is. So within your everyday experience and my everyday experience is the very openness of beingness manifesting itself, light. Continuously. Every experience is method. That's why every experience is method. And everything is contained within our own experience. Continuously. The beingness of being itself can be found or known through the attunement through experience. It's not simply the content of experience. It's not simply the signifiers, using that sort of language of experience. It is not simply the meaning of the experience. It is not simply the narrative of the experience. It is not simply the pleasure or the pain of the experience. It is the very manifesting of experience, the coming forth, the shining forth of experience itself. That is really the revelation of the being becoming you and me, unfolding in you, unfolding around you, and actually unfolding through you. Unfolding through you. That is really something to claim. So, we've been speaking to each other about considering ourself or yourself as a place, a locus, If you're in the Anuttara Tantra, you're a palace, okay? a locus of and as space and time manifestation. So this little space that you are, that I am, actually comes in through the fabric of being at a certain time, appears as opening of space and time, and then disappears into time, into the timelessness of beingness. Your experience is manifesting the dimensions of the awareness field. Isn't it amazing? Your experience manifests all the dimensions of the awareness field. The experience is not only the experience of inwardness, where some of us are right now, or outwardness, but this vast in-between, encompassing both dimensions, inwardness and outwardness, subjectivity and otherness, whatever type of words we want to use, me and you, to name a famous song by the Walkmen, We are the manifestation of the same surging awareness. That is one of Lok Champa's, the surging, relentless surging of awareness, the relentless surging of the bigness of being, coming forth all the time. The light of awareness. So this is really the Mahamudra, this is Dzogchen, certain aspects of Shaivism, it's in different traditions. So that the givenness of experience, the very givenness of experience, is the givenness of the light. The light becomes experienced as your place for a certain amount of years. And again, you cannot have experience without the clear light of knowingness. All the things, all the animals, people, planets even, because as one goes further, the physical world itself is anima mystic. The physical world itself is alive, right? The entire world is anima. So it's not just sentient beings, but also all the entire story. Gnosis, the givenness of experience, is the source of oneness. It's oneness through experience. Isn't that amazing? We tend to think sometimes experience stops us. I ain't doing that again. But experience is the source of oneness. Because experience actually is the bridge between me and you, between you and the world, is the experiencing, not just within, but everything around us in its multidimensionality. In its multidimensionality. Through the very power, this is what's so weird though, through the very power of the potential for experience, through the very power, the Shakti, the source, the energy of the power for experience, and together with the continuous, relentless activity within experience, we can easily lose the profound, open, and luminous comprehension of how things appear and how things and people are actually manifesting. It's very paradox. It goes back to that doubleness of aletheia, to going back to that, both concealment and unconcealment. The very nature. Or the Song of Samantabhadra, out of one single ground, there's both arising as knowingness, Rigpa, and as ma-Rigpa, not knowingness. Built in. It's not because we're bad people, So this takes place as a person tries to grasp experience only through thought, but it's not because of that. It's being manifested as this. You don't say, okay, because you can switch it. You can think, oh, it's because of your agency. But rather the manifestation of you and I grasping experience only through thought, through cultural framing, or through the mind framing. You want to see it that way. If you want to. Who cares, right? You want to see it that one way it's manifested is when you and I try to understand primordial awareness only through the framing of thought, right? The power of being caught up in experience, for sure, or lost in experience, the primordial manifestation or appearing of all experience can be obscured. And so the subtle perceptual, subtle knowingness, subtle oneness, subtle direct knowing within experience can sometimes not even be seen or experienced. It becomes compacted, contained. It becomes like a thing. This gnosis, this knowingness, this awareness of awareness, this gnosis is the basis of experience. That's why we slowly shift from our mind being the base to gnosis being the base. The basis of understanding, the knowing feeling of the experience of beingness manifesting continuously, the manifesting by and of luminosity can be lost. And then the manifestation becomes contained in and of itself. And then it can remain contained and containing. Huh? That's why sometimes part of the yogi's or life is literally experiencing the manifestation of phenomena, the manifestation of appearing, the manifestation of the apparitional, just the pure beingness of being as things arise from that, the coming and the going, manifesting within the pure field of awareness, and not just the manifestations. So even as we look at each other, as we feel each other, we can feel each other as a done job, a manifestation, you know? Or you can actually feel the manifestation arising constantly. That is a very subtle but wonderful shift to simply watch the manifestation of awareness within your own self and within happening around you and within you. Watching the appearing, the very givenness of experience. That takes us right into primordial perception, knowingness. So as everything is contained, it becomes thing-like, then entity-like. The wonderful power of gnosis is not experienced. The wonderful power starts disappearing, and we experience it neither directly nor indirectly. Thus thought and symbol becomes the base of experience, right? Thought and symbol becomes the base of experience. And the corresponding affective splurges and unceasing judgmentalness as base. Huh? So when thought and symbol become the base, then really I have to really make accurate judgments all the time. And in doing that, there's actually what Nietzsche called the assertion of the power of a will. You know? So there arises from this gap, a loss of the profound grasp of experience. And here grasp is not a naughty word, huh? The grasp of experience, the perceiving experience, the holding of experience, the becoming experience, the luminous experience, the continual, innate, and eminent manifestation of the light, of the beingness of my being that structures all my experience. See, I might think I'm structuring this right now, blah, 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 but actually it's manifesting in me and in you right now, right? All this is being manifested from eminence from within us, from the one field. Another view, it's not eminent at all, it's external, but from the view, if you're in the field holding both the inward and outward, it's an eminent experience. It's not a function of my mind in the small sense of mind creating this, as an idealist would think, oh, my mind creates everything. But the field, primordial awareness, does manifest everything. That's why it's bigger than my head. You follow that? So, so the beatificness of experience is lost, as well as the inherent multidimensionality of experience. The kayas are foreclosed. So as we foreclose this way of knowing, the beatificness of experience is lost. And it becomes a category. It becomes a particular place, a particular time, a particular situation. You with me? That's the beatificness of life. But rather the actual unboundness is lost, right? As well as the inherent multidimensionality of experience. The kayas are foreclosed, and we really start becoming very multidimensional, and everything becomes very concrete, operational. That's not always too good, huh? Everything is the field of being manifesting as singular beings. Now we're not just one big glob here, you know. The field of being manifest as singular beings and manifest as singular events and singular actions. We have our little fingerprints, voice prints, sound prints, you know. All relentless surges of beingness resulting in experience, very unpredictable and ineffable. Who would have thought about Massachusetts when everybody was loving Barry Kennedy, huh? Unpredictable, ineffable, huh? Unpredictable, right? All experience is the manifestation of the field of beingness. Beingness becoming being manifest as experience, which is presence. You understand what I mean by presence? Look at all the little presences in this room. All these presences. The beings, that's us, present presence. And there's this experience of this presence both around and within the beings. The beingness of being is always manifesting, so presence is always manifesting and changing and disappearing. So we're trying to use language here, again, at times to ways of wording that we can really feel this process of presence manifesting and dissolving, manifesting and dissolving, manifesting and dissolving, as our experience, as the beingness of being manifests, actually as experience. So this way we don't have to think, oh, we have to kill experience in order to be the beingness of being, huh? We have to cut out Nirmanakaya, cut out Sambhogakaya. Whatever appears in direct awareness, gnosis, whatever appears in direct awareness, gnosis, does not stir from the face of gnosis. Whatever we experience within gnosis, so whatever I experience within gnosis, there's gnosis and there's whatever I'm experiencing within gnosis. There is gnosis and there's whatever I'm experiencing within gnosis, right? It's a multidimensional drama. Whatever we experience within gnosis remains within the dimension of gnosis. Isn't that great? Whatever you experience in gnosis remains within gnosis. Kind of like what they call it, not field dependent. Content dependent, but you have dependence, a very thing in psychology. Huh? State dependent, thank you. It's like state dependent. When you actually experience it in gnosis, that experience will tend to be maintained in gnosis. And that time that experience can actually be a doorway into gnosis. Iconic doorways. We're always looking for little doorways, right? So when you have an experience in gnosis, that experience itself can be a doorway back into gnosis. When you have an experience in gnosis, that experience itself can be a doorway back into gnosis, including tragic experiences. Huh? The field of gnosis, the framing of causality. So within the field of gnosis, the framing of causality, Newtonian causality, the framing of moral conditioning. Who's the great European moralist? Calvin. Not cool. And the framing through judgment or superseded. What? In the field of gnosis itself, the framing of causality, the framing of moral conditioning, and the framing through judgment are superseded. It doesn't mean you can't make judgments within it. It doesn't mean you can't think of cause and effect within it. It doesn't mean you can't think of certain actions in it. But it's superseded. It is not the basis. It's gone beyond, as Lord Buddha said, Gattara, go beyond into the natural completion of the single, all-encompassing moment of the transparency in the here and now. You mean as I'm in the here and now, in the immediacy of the here and now, or it says in the text, the calling of the Lama, the Buddha is the here and now. As I enter the here and now, and become aware of awareness, and I start becoming that awareness in the here and now, I have to watch the framing of causality. I have to be careful with moral conditioning and framing through judgment. So these teachings really are kind of challenging, to say the least, okay? Especially if you have a sense of justice and a few other things like that. The translucidity, that primordial translucentness of continual freshness, newness, and timeless awareness in time. As you and I experience timeless awareness in time, and it's through the present that we enter timeless awareness, right? We can be in the present and not quite in timeless awareness, or through the doorway of the present we can enter timeless awareness. We're doing it right now. Then we're in timeless awareness and yet in time at the same time. Right? You guys follow what I'm saying here? So it's in that timeless awareness that we have to watch the focusing on moral conditioning, also known as the superego, the focus on judgment, and also the focus on the framing of causality. We can go back to the talk on truth, too, where judgment became the imperium, huh? And it became rectitude. And we'll get that talk again sometime. I like that talk. It's just a myth, but it helps, to me, somewhat hold the disappearing of them. So within gnosis, within direct perception, there's no cause and effect. What? You mean I can't actually do it? Yep. So within gnosis, within direct perception, it is beyond cause and effect. It is beyond Newtonian physics, apples falling on heads. It's actually beyond relativity theory too. But it's actually it's very much quantum thinking. It's very, very similar. This is like the quantum point where out of everything emerges, and it emerges as streams and strings, and then it becomes flesh. Right? So within gnosis, within direct perception, there's no cause and effect. The devil doesn't make us do it, okay? Only the manifestation. So it's really going to the very, very primal way of looking at everything as the manifestation surging forth and dissolving. The surging forth and dissolving. And then you are meeting the surging forth, and you are the surging forth, meeting surging forth. And this is from Longchenpa I'm talking right now. Okay? There's 1,001 views on this stuff. If we think this is a doctrinaire, the catechism. Dzogchen is not a catechism. Mahamudra is not catechism. You with me? You're always hearing the particular person's experience stretching you to enter into it. You with me? Language is used to pull you, stretch you into that experience. But it's not apodictic, huh? So duration is the appearance and disappearance of phenomena. Surges. Like Hades, a surge, right? Huge surge, huh? So there's this duration, time. Duration is the appearance and disappearance of phenomena, beings, and the yearning and requiring positive experiences or objective signs from this viewpoint results in bewilderment of good and bad experience. What? My wanting to have positive signs? Am I there? Am I okay? Am I in it? Is this it? That yearning itself, that push, that desire will result in bewilderment. Bewilderment of good and bad appearance, true and false appearance, right and wrong. Is this good or is this bad? Is this true or is this false? Is this right or is this wrong? And they're intensely affective and radically judgmental. Huh? If I can get the right judgment, I'm okay. So in this primordial field, there is no good or bad in pure awareness as it arises. Huh? The pure awareness of the Dharmakaya, the pure awareness of the apparitional, Sambhogakaya, or actually the pure awareness of beingness of being manifesting as the luminous presence as Nirmanakaya. The surge, the relentless surge, this was written by, Longchenpa, long before the surge appeared in Iraq, okay? The surge of relentless spontaneity, must be intuited. What he means by intuitive must be experienced directly and continuously, both within yourself and around you and through you. So you want to begin to experience that direct perception is around you and through you and within you. You want to claim that capacity. You follow me? It's in me, it's around me, it's through me. It's in yourself, around yourself, and through you. The self-sprung awareness is the unceasing awareness field manifesting everything and encompassing everything, even actions. Huh? So it's not like there's Juliet, the manifestation, the field of being, and then she's on her own. You with me? It's a big question, like in theology. God creates you, then drops back. Now you're on your own. Good luck. Here's the pool. You follow me? So there you are. So this manifestation of the beingness of being is actions also, right? Right? There's no other source. Pure awareness cannot be produced by cause. Isn't it amazing? Pure awareness cannot be produced by cause. And this self-sprung awareness manifests in time, an unfolding of time in geometrical space. So it creates time in geometrical. The being in gnosis, being in awareness of awareness, becoming this awareness is co-emergent. So being in gnosis, like we're entering now or in, and becoming this awareness, becoming it, is co-emergent with the capacity to rest without artifice, with natural gnosis. So the more you and I enter gnosis, the co-emergent experience is being able to take it easy, to take a break, to rest in awareness. That's okay? It is co-emergent. So the one more experiences gnosis, direct perception in its various manifestations. It is co-emergent with the capacity to rest without artifice, within natural gnosis. Don't exactly know what he means by artifice. It's arbitrary, contrived, I think. This is the dynamic of the Buddhas of the past and present. This is the dynamic of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Being able to rest in awareness without artifice. Resting. Buddhahood is perfected spontaneously without effort. The resting and abiding in the thought-free state of natural gnosis. That doesn't mean in the thought-free state you might not have thoughts or experiences, but you're in the thought-free state, having thoughts or experiences, right? Or the thoughtless free state of natural gnosis. Experiencing the uncontrived nature of awareness in its essence, becoming the field as the kayas, the appearance of oneness of the flesh, the appearance of oneness of the flesh, namanakaya, actually feeling oneness in the flesh, the apparitionalness of the divine energies and luminosities, the deities, and the pure openness of beingness itself, this multidimensional life, that is becoming the Buddha. All events are pure awareness manifesting both within and without. And no correctness of judgment will be of help with this. What? The event is not the truth of judgment, I got it, but the truth of aletheia, the being unconcealed as we rest in the basis. Huh? The three Gnostic dimensions are not mind constructs. The direct perception of aletheia, the beingness of being, is Buddhahood. You know? Parmenides Longchenpa saying the same thing. Resting in the free and easy nature of awareness, surrendering to the pristine reality, bare gnosis of the pure being superseding causality. I'm not getting there by causal thinking. So, as you go through the different steps, and using Buddhism right now, at least Tibetan, a lot of steps take place. There's a lot of things you do, right? And then at a certain point, you release yourself. And you go into the Anuttara Tantra, and you go into Hatha Yoga. You start to release yourself from being such a good worker, a hard-working person. And you also release yourself from the moral striving, okay? It doesn't mean you're without virtue. Okay? Virtue, as Yenjin says, is the source of the chi. But that virtue is not the striving of the superego. To know that difference, to be able to slice that difference is really cool. The judgment of right and wrong, good and evil, better and best, and truth and falsity, of attributionalism. Basically, you're making attributes about what is. So it's we're almost done. But again, in this text, he's asking everyone to consider holding in suspension moral judgment, holding in suspension causality, and holding in suspension, what's the third one? Judgment, causality. Well, judgment carries a lot of it, actually. But the moral thing. So the pellucid, P-E-L-U-I-C-D, the pellucid, clear, natural clarity, brilliant, shining spaciousness, the timeless oneness of luminosity, of the bodhicitta of pure love, or love, in all its forms is form and formlessness. The uncontrived, uncontaminated space in its natural flow, immaculate in its natural transparency and translucidity, at ease in the natural freedom, pellucid in natural purity, relaxed in natural disposition, and the doors of the senses are completely held wide open. The doors of the senses are held completely wide open. Embodiment. Embodied. Completely embodied. Without altered states. Okay? Without the divine altered state. In this vast matrix of open spaciousness, the mind's reliance on linear process is broken, his words, and the equilibrium we rest in undeterminate clarity. So the more you and I can feel and rest in the undeterminateness of this world, to that degree we're free. The more we really lock into determinism, and total predictability, stock market, then to that degree we actually experience the freedom of indeterminacy. That means going with it. The indeterminate lucidity of being. That's realization. The luminous vast body, which is really the body of light, he gave that empowerment. He gave lots of empowerments. I've never seen so many empowerments given so directly. We'll close our eyes for a minute. So we always know too, some people get empowerments. Empowerments are just not necessarily contained in that time or place. I know that to be true, right? So that empowerment, that one of the empowerments he gave again was the empowerment we got with the Yeshe Lama, the empowerment of direct awareness, okay? He gave that empowerment. You with me? The empowerment of direct awareness was given. The vast body empowerment was given, okay? Which ultimately allows us to bring forth the body of light, okay? He gave the empowerment of the consort, which is a really Anutantra empowerment, that one can hold the experience in the body as support, and the experience of sexuality can be held in the light of awareness. Or as Namkhai Norba would say, if you can hold that experience in the light of awareness, you really are getting someplace. You follow what I'm saying here? He gave a mantra's empowerment. He gave the empowerment of the bodhicitta opening. And I'm going to have to get the door for a moment, okay? So why don't we just close for a minute? We'll place our hands under our heart and we'll do the mantra Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yana Dhatu Ah. And we'll be back. We're holding that little mantra. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yanodhatu A. So the luminous vast body is support for ourselves and others. And the body is a doorway of the transmission of the luminosity of a radiance. Isn't that amazing with human beings? The body is also support for the dissolving of experience, right? You can dissolve, metabolize. The suffusing light suffuses the body and beyond the body. The inner yin arising out of the body into the matrix of the world, suffusing light, entering the light. The releasing of the light is also, from this frame, an understanding is the releasing of the bodhicitta. The releasing of the light, the inner heart essence, right, is the releasing of the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is, we all know, is the light of love, or the love is the light, the heart essence light. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yanodhatu A. I'm going to focus a little bit. And when we, the bodhicitta, as we know also, this is both, they call it relative and absolute. Relative means the aspiration for realization, my desire for realization, or not desire. Aspiration is it's going to take place. Aspiration is a very good word. It's not the same as desire. It's not the same as intentionality. It's like your spirit manifesting as aspiration. The aspiration for realization is realization, or which is love, right? Or compassion. So the aspiration of realization for yourself and others, right? The bodhicitta, the Mahayana frame, to use this language. The aspiration for realization is realization. The very aspiration for realization is realization. Out of the aspiration for realization arises out of one's realization. You guys follow what I mean by that? Say you really want to follow that, because you'll feel the surge of that understanding. The aspiration for realization arises out of primordial realization, which is the great affection. Okay, so we're going to focus for a few minutes right now on this the bodhicitta as light. So bodhicitta has a number of different meanings. And one most basic meaning, it is the nature of awareness itself, which has compassion, which is the nature of oneness. It's not an affect. It is also considered the relative, meaning the aspiration of it. Okay? But you want to combine the aspiration with that it is realization. Okay? There's no gap. If there's a gap, it really doesn't have the power that it can have. Say yes if you understand what I'm saying. You really have confidence in that. And so sometimes the bodhicitta also means, in some of the tantras, it can have different meanings. Sometimes it's the liquid of the male-female deities mixing, huh? That's why in some of those empowerments you have the liquid come down your head and things like that, or placed on your tongue, like in the empowerment with the Lama on whatever day that was. Okay? You guys follow? So you'll see the word having different connotations. But also the high connotation is that the bodhicitta is the liquid light. The bodhicitta is also the liquid light. And so some of these things are written in disguised forms, and you have to kind of pass through it, so to speak, with some alacrity. You guys follow what I'm saying? So another way of understanding the bodhicitta, it is the liquid light. It is the heart essence, and it does have a liquid-like quality to it. So love can have a liquid-like quality. Like melting, right? It's all phenomenology. It's like melting, releasing of that into human beings, and releasing of that into the field. Say yes if this is making 100%. Okay. So we're going to practice this for a moment. We're going to hold awareness. We're going to extend to each other. Anytime you extend, you can consider that you're extending the bodhicitta, right? Anytime you're extending awareness, you're extending the bodhicitta. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yanodhatu Ah. Now within extension, there's a quality of releasement, which is really very wonderful. So let yourself release from the inner heart, please. I know everyone has done this many times. And sometimes the release will feel like a sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E, a drop. And so some of the tantric things, they're disguising sometimes experience in a sexual metaphor that is actually the metaphor of light. Say yes if you're understanding what I'm saying. Okay? You guys follow this? So it's like releasing that sphere, the little sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E, from the inner heart into the field itself. And leave our eyes closed. Raise your hands if you felt that experience. If you felt the releasement into the field. Okay, I'm going to sit back again a little bit more. This mantra, which also is a very great mantra, Oma Hum Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yana Dhatu, also helps open up the kayas. Okay? And it helps open up the beneficent dimension of the archetypes. But it's not just one thing. This is considered one of the great mantras in Tibetan Buddhism. And supposedly this mantra was given by Padmasambhava to the Vidyadharas. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yana Dhatu. Bodhicitta, the aspiration for realization that is realization. Mahasukha, the great sweetness. Jnana, knowingness, gnosis, direct perception. Dhatu in all the situations. This particular mantra is also very good when you're dying, or you know someone that's dying, because it helps the Sambhogakaya become user-friendly to a person. So as you and I die, and the body starts dropping away, the Manakaya starts dropping away, what remains is Sambhogakaya, or the Dharmakaya. And for a lot of people, they've never been there before, so it's a little strange, like finding yourself in Hong Kong. So to feel user-friendly, right? This is a mantra that helps the deities feel resident to you. You with me? And by the deities, it means these energies within your own being, okay? As they manifest. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Mahasukha Yana Dhatu. Let's say it. We'll focus again for a moment. Let's extend to each other. Focus in the heart itself. And release. Often we've used our hands, right? Sometimes on the person, we release the energy into our hands, right? Well, everybody knows how to do this. It's actually releasing the bodhicitta, the liquid light, and then we place it where? In the person's, that little doorway, right? And then the person may often experience this liquid-like sensation going through their whole body. Now, when this takes place, this is not your sacred essence, okay? But it is the sacred essence of the inner heart essence. If you think it's yours, you're not going to feel very good after a while. You know, you're with me. So you don't want to claim it as moi. but as the essence. Everybody following this? Let's focus again. We're going to extend to our ancestors right now, mothers and fathers of the mothers and fathers, and both the generational field before us and after us, whatever that means for you. And we'll extend. And then I'd like us again to release the drop. The generativity of this particular action is really very powerful for both yourself and other people. And in the Tantras they speak a lot about drops, okay? There's drops in the forehead, there's drops in the navel, there's drops, and sometimes these drops descend from the head. That's also considered the bodhicitta also. And as the fire in the navel, in the lower fire, blazes, the fire of awareness blazes, then the liquid-like permeates your body. And the nectarian state's open. We'll again focus on the sphere, SPHE, in the center of the heart, right in the center of the chest. And let's release again into the room. Releasing the drop, the bodhicitta into the field. Releasing the bodhicitta into the field. At one level, the bodhicitta is also a dimensional phenomenon, just like awareness. Human awareness is a dimensional phenomenon, or consciousness is a dimensional phenomenon. So at one dimension, the bodhicitta is just pure awareness, without any form, no stuff, no sphere, no drops. As it begins to manifest, though, in Sambhogakaya, and as it manifests in the Mayakaya, the spheres, S-P-H-E-R-E, begin to manifest, right? I know some people have seen spheres. You've seen spheres. The sphere of the universe, the drop of the being. In certain ways, the blue pearl is the heart essence drop of the bodhicitta. There's also very good practice to do with your enemies. You with me? If you happen to have any. It is. It is a very altruistic practice to not only extend the field, but release the bodhicitta towards that person. So now we're going to break into pairs. If you guys don't mind pairing up right now. But maybe people against this wall will be the helpers, and we're going to so we're going to pair up right now. Okay. Also, I got piece. I'll give this the end of the thing, but since there was a little bit of vast confusion about the fees for January and December, I think this is accurate, maybe, okay? But I've also put who owes what, because it's very confusing. It is confusing. So I've got, so if you paid $120 or if you paid $160 or $200 in December, I'll give you this and you can have some guidance. I think the schedule in February, we're here all the time, I think. Oh, we were missing the 1st of February, yes. Such certitude. Such certitude. I take Thanks. Always have certitude, right? Thank you. Let me give you this, because I think you overpaid. I think
No, I got it.
You got it. Okay, great. So let's pair up if you can. You can sit in front of me, hon. It's pretty interesting listening to Longchenpa, isn't it? And the relational component of the Mahayana Dzogchen, you know. Everybody's got a partner. Before we get, anybody want to make any statements about that little talk, or questions or statements before we? Everybody's not here. We'll chat for a moment. Yes.
I just thought it was beautiful, and in my mind I'm thinking, when you're talking about...
You want to get the microphone for her, Steve? Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, please, huh?
The masculine and the feminine energy.
Yes.
How that is really what happens when a child is born, you know. It's the mixing of the masculine and feminine, and just on the Nirmanakaya level, that creative juice forms
A being.
a being. So it's on every level.
It's on every level. And also for all of us here, the combination of the masculine and feminine, the drops, if you want to call them that, allows us to have realization. You with me? So we're holding both the masculine and the feminine, okay? That union. That's why above Gabe Dorje you have the Buddha and the two Buddhas in oneness, because that is not only between two people, it is within one's own self. That is, it has nothing to do with gender up there. You with me? And the issue of the combination of the masculine and feminine energy in each of us is really important. You with me? And some of us are very feminine and some of us are very masculine, independent of gender. And you really want to pull both into yourself. It is really necessary. You with me? That is why there's both a profound receptivity, and there is the Vajrakalaya, which is the very force of awareness cutting through. So you want to hold both. You want to hold both. Really, I'm so glad you brought that up.
It's also like the nature of aspiration is, you know, the mixing of the masculine, the feminine. Because, right, it's that, you need the masculine in order to experience that aspiration.
Right, and we need also like direct perception and skillful means. The skillful means grows out of the direct perception. But the can you all feel that taking place, that you feel yourself balancing out on that question, whatever side that you feel? You know, if you're on the masculine side, you feel more and more the feminine emerging. If you're on the feminine side, you actually feel more of the masculine emerging. That balance is really necessary. Thank you. Anybody want to say anything else? Everybody almost down here? We're ready? Yes, please. Jan?
As you were talking, I had a knowing rather than a tension about having so much intensity associated with what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Can you say more about that?
Well, it was an enormous amount of intensity, and there is like a step removed now, where it's more like a knowing that is there versus a tension around it.
Well said. That's really well said. There's a knowingness of the intention, but as a step removed from it, because you don't feel actually the tension so much in the body. Mm-hmm. It's the soma is getting free. Or as he describes it one place, there's the freeing of the vital life force from primordial awareness, okay? But actually at another level, and I think what that freedom is the vital life force is primordial awareness itself at a certain level. They are the same, okay? But some of the tensions around the life force, the surges, you're becoming more and more relaxed, which is really good. So gnosis is having more of a play. Are you following this? So this relaxing into gnosis. Huh? Okay? The vital life force is part of this whole thing, though, right? The whole... This is the vital life force dimension. Huh? Let's focus on each other now. Who was at that little day? Who was there? Raise your hands if you were there. Okay, cool. Okay, I'd like you to think about the retreat, or whatever that the day of the empowerment. Okay, the day of the empowerment, and I'd like you to hold that in your awareness, and just hold that and feel yourself including everyone. So, like, feel yourself as a vehicle for that experience. Okay. And if you're not with a partner who was, that's okay. Those who were there, you feel yourself as a vehicle for that experience. And some of these empowerments were also given in the Yeshitogu empowerment and different ones, but this was nice. It was very contained. Empowerments are like Shaktipat. Empowerments are like the awakening of awareness, different levels of awakening of awareness. Empowerments are lineage phenomena. Whatever the traditions. Now let's focus on the person you're with, and let's lean into the person just a little bit. And we can both work together. No one has to. I'd like everybody to do a pass-through, if you don't mind, where you extend yourself through the person. You all can do this together. Body should wake up a little bit. Do not go too far. You want to be holding both inner awareness and outer awareness. We can do this. This is stretchy. Inner awareness people have trouble going out. Outer awareness people have trouble going in. Like the masculine and feminine, you want to involve and hold both. Okay. And then maybe the people whose backs are against the wall can place your hands underneath the person's ears. You can feel the wrists. And you slowly bring that person into the heart essence. As you do that, you'll feel the inner heart essence opening in your own body. So bring them towards you. You can feel that 45-degree angle. And bring them into that heart essence. And you can just rest there for a few minutes, feeling the beneficent rising out of your body. You will feel the bodhicitta building. Say yes if you're feeling that. You'll feel the bodhicitta arising, to use that word. You'll feel the energy of the light arising. Then you stretch the person up just a little bit. And as you stretch them up, then the light of that heart energy goes through the rest of their body. So from the eyes, helping them see more of the light, through the mouth, opening up the inner nectarian states in the palate, up into the throat, opening up some Bogakaya, then the heart directly from you. With your hand, your thumb, please touch beneath the breast that little point. Totally easily. No pressure. There is no effort in any of this. And then you will feel your finger go into their body if you're the right place. Use your thumb, please. Use your thumb right now. Thumb. Just feel the thumb entering. Just a little bit. right in the middle of the chest, right in the center of the chest. That major spot we're always using. You can pull your hand back. You can pull the energy. Then if you don't mind leaning into him or her with your whole body a little bit, like you're leaning through them again, but not all the way through. And then you can bring forth the bodhicitta. You can bring forth the inner felt feeling of the energy within the heart essence. Sometimes you will feel it moving right directly up, like a drop coming up. And then you release it. Or sometimes it may be coming down. And you release it into the field, into that person. You yourself should feel a melting-like quality within you. You feel this melting-like quality. And you melt more into oneness, and you melt into a more beneficent place. We'll pause, okay? You can place your wrist gently at the person's mouth on the side of the cheek, and you feel a connection between the heart center and your wrists, and you release the energy like a drop into the cavern of the mouth. Just on the side, the cheek, release that. You can then place your wrist over the person's eye, and you can release more light and energy there. Sometimes if you feel a drop of the bodhicitta forming, you can release that through the wrist. All this is releasing very pure light into the being. Sometimes with this, we're just doing it out of resonance, right? Sometimes it's only resonance. And other times it's transmission. You really want to know what you're doing this way. For most of the stuff, you want to know what you're doing or not doing. Then we'll drop back for a moment when you're ready. And I'd like you with your upper chest, the helpers, to pull on the person's heart just a little bit. It's like you're entering it and you're pulling. This also helps open up the inner heart essence. A little help from our friends, as the song goes, right? Of course, with these methods, sublimation is really useful and necessary, huh? That the navel's open, the energy goes up directly into your own heart, and that helps open up the inner heart essence, okay? You with me? And in that way, the experience is not sexualized for yourself or the other person. That is really very important, okay? And very, very useful. There are certain situations when the situations fit that the experience can be sexualized, okay? However, in truth, only if you have the vast space of awareness and are not actually located in desire can the true tantric sexual experience take place. So a lot of so-called tantric stuff has nothing to do with the true tantras whatsoever. You're following what I'm saying? So paradoxically, you have to be a master of sublimation. You have to be a master of sublimation to work with people this way. You with me? As we are here. Okay? Because your own energy, the sublimatory energy, helps open up the heart essence. We've been through this before, but just doing a review on this, okay? But since the Lama also gave that empowerment of the consort, the empowerment of the consort only works in a truest sense if you have some freedom from desire. And I'm saying that in a more minimal way to give everyone confidence. Do you understand what I'm saying? So without that, you will not enter the Anuttara Tantras. And then one of the problems I gave on that talk on Tantras is what happened is, as things start emerging institutionally, typically institutions try and institutionalize everything, and they try to institutionalize tantric activities with sexual components, and it really got very, very difficult, and a lot of reforms had to take place because it wasn't quite working. You guys follow what I'm saying? So you want to understand? I'm always presenting the history of this stuff. So in our culture, these relational methods are really great for people. You with me? They're very direct, and they can be utilized. You with me? And today we're focusing primarily on the inner heart essence. So as you cultivate the inner heart essence, somebody's sick, you can lean over them and release that drop. Om Mahasukha Yanadatu Ah. All this takes some kind of brain. You with me? It takes some type of skillful means called common sense intelligence. You follow what I'm saying? And you do not want to be in trance states. You with me? Because then you're going to look strange. Okay? You want to hold the sukha in the bliss of your ordinary way. You can tell when people are in bliss. It's not that you're trying to foreclose bliss. This is bliss. It is intrinsically bliss. But you want to hold it in a non-trance way. That's the only thing I'm saying. Because trance is dissociative. You want to dissolve dissociation. This is not anti-bliss. It is not anti-pleasure. It is not anti the bliss of the great awareness or the bliss of the heart essence, right? Any questions about this? So let's share our experience a little bit. Would we just maybe pass the microphone and just we'll start there and just describe what that was like for you. Sorry to be so matter of fact, but that's the way we do this. So what's it like? So what was that like, please?
Well, it's just like utter and complete stillness. That's, that concentric pools of luminous liquidity and light.
Beautifully said, thanks. And Diana? We're going to have each couple share.
Very similar. I would say it's one of the most grounded, calm, peaceful, powerful, but very still kind of experiences.
Beautifully described. Thank you so much. Next couple.
For me, there were kind of these sweet waves that would come through. So it would be like these sweet waves, and it just got bigger and higher. And it's really very sweet.
That'd be a title to a nice song, wouldn't it? Sweet Waves.
Sweet waves.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet
Thank
waves.
you. Next person, with Dawn.
It was quiet, but it was extremely intense and extremely vibrant. And I like the way it was just growing, coming in waves and going up and around us. And it was, very energetic.
Very beautifully described. Thank you. The spanda, the waves.
We had 3 people, and it was
Oh,
really,
cool.
really powerful.
And you had just finished talking about I call it the yin and the yang, and I just felt so much in that equal energy with you here. And then just the power of the heat and the joy that she still has on her face. It's just, it was really a great experience.
Beautifully described. Also, there's another empowerment. The Lama gave the power of the Tumo yesterday also. And so he literally gave the entire tantric path. So Tumo is the power of the heat, So a lot of that's here, but it's always good to get the empowerment. So the Tumo is the power of the heat, and that's really great. Thank you so much for saying that.
The heat was everywhere. It was very much in my chest. It was very much between the two of you. And then when we put our hands up here, it was burning. It was
cool.
Blazing.
Blazing fire.
From here to here and everywhere.
Totally cool.
Yeah, it was really quite remarkable to have two people doing this with me at the same time. And my temporal area there on the side of my head is still feeling quite warm. It's just quite lovely.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it over to Michelle and Steve.
Yeah, it was quiet, it was light. I apologize for this metaphor, but what I thought of was up in Lake Tahoe, there's a restaurant that's known for its souffles, and it's thought that being up at the higher altitude, it makes a better souffle, and that's kind of what I felt. It was this very light and sweet, and it was a great little experience, and it was light, but it wasn't like it was empty lightness, like airy. It was still had a very intense kind of puffiness to it. So it was like a souffle.
That is beautiful to describe.
I also just watched Julie and Julia this past week. So.
It was a great movie. Wasn't it great? I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't really feel that same thing, or definitely didn't have that same metaphor happening in my head, but I just thought it was interesting because obviously I know Steve really well, but I didn't feel like it was like personality-less.
Mm-hmm.
Just that really true connection.
Mm-hmm.
And open. It was light. It wasn't so intense, but there was a little stretchiness in my chest. And I was glad that you kept saying to release, because it would build and I would have to release in order for it to
Yes.
acquire that lightness. So.
Great. So we actually feel sometimes there's a building within the heart essence. It actually forms into a sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E, and that can be released or transmitted. Huh? Great. Thank you. Next couple. And life is couples, There's always one. You're in couples all the time throughout the day, People wouldn't. But there's always couples moving. It's a very moving, flexible thing. This life. Yes. Next couple.
I had that sense of being placed both in the oneness together, and then also as an experience inside something sort of equidistant between being out and in, and so that even in my eyes there was one that I was gazing through and one that was full of light. The right eye was just a whiteout.
Very nice. That does start to take place. And sometimes there's one eye in, one eye out, and sometimes one eye is looking in and one eye is looking out, and that's really, really great for everybody. Thank you. Next person.
On Monday night, the Rinpoche took us through Hirinisa and the wrathful Dakinis. And as I was saying goodbye to him, he did a transmission of the rest to the Jah.
Oh, cool.
And at that point to now, I have droplets going.
Fantastico.
And and as you raised your wrist to go up, I had the sensation of that you experiencing that empowerment through this jiao. And the heart drops have been so open and inviting.
Very, very beautifully described. As a very generous person, he was, in terms of the generosity, and which I think is so cool. And all these lamas who come here, the ones we have, and having Lama Lena come soon, is that they're so generous in giving what was once secret. You with me? They had 200 people there, all sorts of people. And he's just throwing the whole book. You want the book? Here's the book. You with me? and undoubtedly, whether one understands it conceptually or not, it is unfolding for people, which is totally cool. So we have his picture up there now, Lama Gorchen up there. And we also have Lama Lena coming. And she's going to come in May 15th and 16th. And she's now bearer of the lineage, of the teaching lineage of Lama Wandor, which is pretty cool. A gay woman who is now the bearer of this lineage. That's totally cool. I'm really happy about her coming, and you can see the important both in politically as many other ways for people. Great, thank you. Next couple, thanks for sharing that.
Well, I was feeling the heat. I had to take my jacket off before we even sat down.
Mm-hmm.
When you asked everyone who'd received the empowerments to bring that back into their awareness, I saw this sphere here and this triangular shape. That was the first image that I had. And then as we extended and blended the energies, it was like osmosis. It was very clean and very clear and very blended feeling.
I like the word you said, clean, because with the osmotic transmission, it is not a fusion state. It is not. People confuse fusion with the oneness, and they really are quite different. Continue on. I'm just really appreciate you saying that.
And the sense of drawing up. There was a sense of drawing up, but also kind of extending down, and this kind of like when something occurs in osmosis, that is a drop falling into a larger body of water, gentle, very gentle, and that sense of heat was palpable.
Beautifully described. And what I like, you weren't here for a while, and yet you're describing, what's taking place. Cool.
I was here in spirit.
It's in the field. Thank you. Glad to have you here.
When we did the pass-through together, could actually have the experience of being passed through and opening completely
in the back,
and going through and opening the back. And then when we did the go in but don't pass through, sort of stay, then there was like a big pool of the heart essence that we were sitting in, and then that was like being drawn up and held. I could feel like there's the mutuality of the two, and then her presence, my presence, in this huge pool that's supplying it all.
Beautifully described. Thank you so much. We're going to practice probably the next time we meet, maybe, is as you get good at passing through, then eventually you pass through the other side. And then we'll describe what we experience as we actually step through the other side of the human being and what's there. And that's a really wonderful capacity to have. Thank you so much. Next couple.
I was particularly aware of the vast body that we created together, and the immense, and it was very peaceful, but the light was so strong and so profound and just filled the whole body, the vast body. Anyway, and the pass-through, too, I really love that pass-through. It feels, it's such a beautiful, soft, sweet way to join. And it felt, I could feel Lorette doing that to me as well, and just the warmth of it and the deliciousness of it as it comes through. And that
it's like pure and total goodness. You know? It is. It was Kunzing Deji Lipa used to use that phrase, pure and total goodness. Thank you.
It's sweet to hear Carol talk about the part that's the human connectedness element of the pass-through. It is so nurturing and nurturing and energizing. The experience was when I got there that there, as I passed through and entered, that everything just opened up. You know, sort of like the molecules in your body get farther apart from each other. And then as she lifted me back, then the whole back of my body opened up with light, and it felt like it was moving from the bottom up and then sort of across, like in a cross-like energy field of radiant light, powerful but not harsh. And then at some point, you talked about her taking the liquid and having it enter from above, and at that point, it felt like my whole body became a drop. The shape of the drop, and at that point, the calmness, while still having the energy and light, it became contained in this quality that had a darker element than the light, but not dark. It just that somehow the brightness of the light was calmed while it still held all of its experience. So there was this incredible ease with the experience of being uplifted or inspired, or whatever that word is that captures the presence of the energy and light being awakened.
Beautifully described. I like how you're experiencing yourself as the seer, S-P-H-E-R-E. Thank you. Bodhicitta. Thanks. Next couple.
Waves of very, very peaceful light, very pleasurable, very sweet, very Divine Mother at one point. The moving from the mouth up through the eyes and up into the head was very, very strong and very beautiful.
Fantastic.
So, in my continuing dialogue with myself about the masculine and the feminine and the skillful means and the essential beingness, I think last week I had such an experience, which this was an extension of just continuous expansion and no difference between outside and inside. And when you were speaking today about extension into releasing, it felt to me that was the key for me. But because the extension feels more masculine, and but the releasing, which I think is what happened naturally last time, your description of that, it dropped in. And so I was just with that as the so-called doer. So that everything, there was no specific sphere, no specific thing I want to point at, but it was this, I guess I'm having a hard time describing it. It felt completely as though, in a sense, I was finding this and extending it, but that it was totally blended. And the nurturing was profound. And I, too, was so drawn to take my wrist and release into Barbara's jaw and then into her eyes. It was exquisite. It was so exquisite. I felt on one level that it was divine giving, and on another level it was complete blending.
Thank you so much. Last couple. Oh, Barbara, I'm sorry. Okay, next couple.
The heat was interesting. My limbs are really hot, my legs and my arms, but my torso is really cool. It's kind of like a refrigerator is, where this cool kind of nectarian light is just flowing through the channels, a little broader and cooler in the middle, and on the edges it's a little more diffuse. And when we did the pass-through, it was really kind of neat, kind of extended through him, and I was through Dan, and I was just to his back, and it was like this energy just shot out. It wasn't energy, it was clear light. It was like a square of clear light, just boom, catapulted out and pushed right through me. And then we were in this kind of like this clear cube, the two of us sitting in it, and of emptiness. And then there was another time where I could feel that the openness, like a channel coming up right through my throat and out, and it's like wind coming out, and I there's some vibrations in my throat, and I chanted a little bit, and it was like it's just clear light coming through. Or it actually didn't even seem like light; it just seemed like clarity. And then in my heart area, a sun-like thing, a vibrant light of the sun, just kind of opened up and shined, and then it was diffused and spread out like daylight in the area around us.
Great, thank you.
This was a little bit different for me. I think early on I kind of felt like the space was created. It was gonna, either both me and Tom, and then it just kind of developed, and I just kind of been compelled by it, and as everybody's talking, I'm aware of everybody's talking, and I'm processing it, but I'm really kind of compelled to this space that's very dark and blue, and I'm like drawn to like the power of it, or the depth of it, and the solidness of it, and even though that like the light's kind of scintillating or there's movement, it's I'm just kind of compelled by that space, that darkness, that depth, that blue light.
Thank you so much. Let's just focus in, everybody. We're just going to relax for a moment. I'm just going to focus inside just for a few minutes. And if you don't mind just feeling that mantra, just say it. Just feel that mantra. Om Ahum. bodhicitta masuka yana datua. Just feel it. You don't have to say it. You don't have to think it even. You can just feel the hint of it, the sense of it. And we end by placing our right hand underneath that point beneath the breast. And just leaving your hand there and just feeling your hand there. And you can just cup your heart with it as we end up. Just you can put it there. Thank you all. I'm really happy how things are going. Things are going really great in our little seminar. We'll meet next week. The week after that we won't be here. We'll meet again after that. And really glad everybody's here. And I really appreciate how everyone is really in the field. And it'd be very hard for you to be in the field unless you're not practicing on your own. So everybody's doing their own little practice for themselves also, for each other. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming and see you all next week.
I could go there if I got bored. But I was compelled by that. I could go there.
And so then to somebody else. Stories that come in. Follow kind of the directions about you. And it was just so that you felt
We're going to end up, because we're going to be going off right now, so we're going to close up, everybody. Thanks. I wouldn't notice it.